recording. Awesome. John Barrowman.
Hi.
Singer, actor, author.
Yeah.
Such a talented man. Thank you for joining DC Comics News.
You're very welcome.
All right.
I like your shirt, by the way.
Thank you. I didn't have an Arrow shirt, but
That's
I thought
okay.
this would be close enough.
No, it's good. It's good. It's one of our sister shows. So
It is. That's right.
You know,
So
Flash was born of Arrow.
on the DC TV universe.
Yeah.
So let's kick off with where you grew up.
Yeah.
And what inspired you to get into the entertainment industry?
I grew up in two places. I grew up first off in Glasgow, Scotland, and then I moved to the US when I was 9 years old and grew up in the Midwest. And I've never really wanted to do anything else but be in the entertainment industry. I've never had any. I did have a desire to be a pilot at one point, but then when I was 9, I realized it's because I like the man in the uniform rather than the actual being of a pilot. So that was an eye-opener. And it started out with loving my love of music. And I don't know if she was popular here in Australia back in the 70s and the 80s, a girl named Lena Zavaroni, who used to sing. She won a show called Opportunity Knocks, and I used to go to the playground and sing all of Lena Zavaroni's songs, Don't Judge. And it wasn't until I then went to the States where I was introduced to the superhero world by my friend Ross Von Hoff, who every Thursday we used to go down to the drugstore, the chemist, and we would buy our comic books because that's the only place that sold them, and it was on a circular rack. They'd stack them, and on Thursday morning all the new comics would come out. We would pick all the numbers that we wanted, and we would go back to our rooms and read them, pass them around, and then put them into plastic bags, and they would go in the closet. And that was kind of where my life was at that time too, so that was the irony of it. Then we would go down to the basement and we would get the Mego action figures out that are about 6-inch figures, which I still have to this day.
Still today.
Every single one of them.
Excellent.
And we would then reenact what we just read in the comic book by playing superheroes.
Nice.
So it was, the introduction to the entertainment world was through toys and through television itself, but it's always what I've never wanted to do anything else.
Started with pop culture and now you're in the
Correct,
pop
and
culture industry.
I'm now part of pop culture, which is really kind of weird because to see that I'm influencing, and I say that in good sense in terms of the word, that my characters are helping people rather than saying influencing them. Well, they are influencing them, but yes, to be part of it is totally awesome.
And with the inception into the entertainment industry, what was your first big break?
My first big break was my first professional job where I learned about audiences was working at a place called Opryland USA in Nashville, Tennessee. I did 4 shows a day in 120-degree heat. We did 6 days a week, 1 day off, and so that was kind of my first professional gig. But my first break, the big break, which started my career on the path that it is now, was Anything Goes in 1989 with Elaine Page in London's West End. And the irony is that I'd seen the show 5 nights before as an audience member and laughed my butt off. And then I heard they were doing auditions, and I went to an audition in Glasgow, Scotland, where I was visiting family at the time, and I was going over to the UK to study Shakespeare. So there was this open call audition, and I went to the open call audition, and within 48 hours I was in London singing and doing a callback with Elaine, and that was it. I haven't looked back since.
Wonderful.
So it's been a long time.
Auditioning and getting that. We talk about opportunities onto the DC universe. How did the opportunity come up to play Malcolm Merlyn and Arrow?
I was in my kitchen in Palm Springs, and Scott was making coffee, and I got a phone call from my manager Gavin in the UK, and he said, Andrew Kreisberg and Greg Berlanti would like to talk to you, and obviously then they said who Andrew and Greg were, and also Mark Guggenheim, and they said they'd like to talk to you about a show that they're doing called Arrow on the CW. I said fine. I was on vacation at our house just having a break, And I got on the phone with them, and they started talking. They said the first things out of their mouth were, "We are huge Doctor Who and Torchwood fans. We don't think you'll accept this role, but we wanted to ask you anyway." And then they went into their, what in Hollywood we call the spiel. But their spiel was very different from any other spiel I'd ever heard, except for once, which was when I went and auditioned for the role of Captain Jack Harkness on Doctor Who. Everybody who was in that meeting, everybody who I talked to, the same with talking to Andrew and Greg and Mark on the phone, they were all passionate about the world, passionate about the characters. Their love for the genre was there, which was my love for the genre. And when they were done, they said, "What do you think?" And I said, "This is exactly what the discussion that I had with Russell T Davies, Julie Gardner, and Phil Collinson when I auditioned for Captain Jack. And of course I want to be part of this new world. I want it to flourish. I want the character to flourish. I'd be thrilled to play a villain rather than playing a hero." I said, "But I'd like to consider him a hero as I play him, because that's what I think will lure people in." And they've allowed me to run free with that. And that's how that started, sitting at my kitchen counter, having coffee, in my pajamas, on a conference call with them, while they're saying to me, "We've got this guy, Stephen Amell," and I'm looking up Stephen online going, "This will be good." And I said to them, when I saw it, I said, "Look, I'll accept this job on one condition," and they thought I was going to say money or something, and I went, "That you give me a scene in the first season with him topless."
And we got that.
You totally
we
did.
Absolutely
that
got
was because of me.
I'm going to ask you about that, actually. But the
if you ask me about that, I'm going to be getting you to take your top off, looking at what's underneath there. Ha ha! You're now as red as your shirt, you know that.
That's all right. It's all good. The research that you did to build your own persona of Malcolm Merlyn, can you take us through what you did?
Yes, honestly, there was not much, and that's there's a few comics out there that range back from the 70s and the 80s that Malcolm appeared in. If off the top of my head, I'm probably going to get it wrong, so I'm not going to say which one it was, but I think it was Justice League.
Yes, it was Justice League.
Correct, it was one of the first ones, and ironically I do have the comic, but it's packed away because I have all that stuff Malcolm based. I have an encyclopedia of DC which sits by my bedside, and Malcolm was in there. I started looking into that stuff, but there was not really a lot of backstory. So I treated Malcolm as a new entity. They just told me he was a supervillain, he was ruthless. I then made him loyal, but I then made him narcissistic, and the writing helped with all that. But also I then went into Jeff Johns at DC, and I said, "There's not much backstory to Malcolm. How would you like, and would you let my sister and I write the Malcolm Merlyn Dark Archer comic book, giving him a backstory?" And he said, "We would love that," and that was how that started. So the character that didn't have much lore there now has a rich lore because we've been able to write it and create it, and that will be his backstory and his lore for the rest of time.
That's it forever. You've set.
Yep.
You've set.
So to get to play him and to get to do that has been absolutely incredible.
So did you have the idea back then that you wanted to write the Dark Archer? Because those books have just come out now.
The Dark Archer comic has been it's on digital release at any DC retail outlet that you can go online, and Comic Resources is another one you can do. But also this summer, it comes out as a bound
like
graphic,
an actual book,
a graphic novel.
Yep.
And we're very excited about that because it's the story altogether. I mean, you learn things about Malcolm Merlyn. We wanted to mimic it with the TV show, whereas the TV show starts with Oliver saying, "My name is Oliver Queen," right?
Yeah.
Malcolm Merlyn, in the beginning of the comic, "My name is not Malcolm Merlyn," and you then go back and find out who he really is. And I don't want to spoil it, but if you want to know who he is, you got to read the comic book.
Buy the book.
Yeah, we also, it's only 99 cents US, so I don't know what it is in Australian. But
$1.20.
Yeah. So you get also to figure out what that green vial is on his chest.
Yeah.
We look into all that stuff. We look into why he is so ruthless. We and how he became ruthless. You also delve in back to he had kind of a sense of humor. So there's all that stuff. But I don't know if that answered the original question, but I kind of
No, it was good. It was a good response. Yeah. Excellent. Season 1 was very, very dark and intriguing.
Yes.
Arrow.
Yes.
We saw the Hood, then we saw the Dark Archer come out of nowhere, and that very last battle, Season 1.
Yes, where you think he's dead.
Where you think he's dead. You guys come out, you fight each other, that epic battle. You caught the Arrow as well. He had his top off. Can you take us through that scene and the training you may have had to do that, and kind of how
But the training to oogle at Stephen Amell with his shirt off, that didn't take a lot of training. I know the fighting, we do a certain amount of the fight sequences that we do, and the rest is done by a great stunt team, James Bamford, who's the head of a stunt team, and also he now directs the show on occasion. And Stephen and I, you know, we were fine fighting together and all that kind of stuff. But when we had him up in the chains, I did do a sequence where I told him to run the camera, and I walked in and I actually tweaked him, and then stalked him out, and so it was good fun. He was like, Barrowman! But so we have a good time when we're doing it. But that you know, Malcolm loves Oliver. Not many people realize that, but Malcolm feels an affection for, and I say love as a son, because Oliver's a son that Malcolm always wanted. Tommy, that's why Malcolm was upset by the death, but you know, Tommy became a hero almost too late. And Malcolm has always looked at Oliver as a son that he always really wanted, and that's why he has a firm loyalty to Team Arrow. However, if they cross him, he will kill him.
So that goes on with Malcolm Merlyn. He's had different motivations over the series of Arrow, but his tactics have obviously been questionable.
Correct. Well, his tactics have been what he does will either suffice him or suffice the situation that he needs to fix for himself.
I found that one of his main motivations is he humanises the character in the sense of family. His wife died in the Glades. He's got Thea, which he's got a very special relationship with her.
Correct.
My question around that is, do you think his motivations moving forward are still family-centric?
Yes.
Or do you think they're going to evolve into something?
I think they'll evolve into something else, but also that it's more loyalty than I think it'll move into more the loyalty sense than it is the family sense. Family will always be there. The one thing that I did when I was playing Malcolm, if I were doing a scene, like if that's the camera behind you and you're somebody talking and then I pass you, I would always do the information about the family, the love, the passion to the camera, so the audience at home got the secret, but everybody else in the scene didn't know what I was doing.
Right, okay.
And that's the way I asked them if they would allow me to do that, so that I would draw the audience in and make Malcolm likable, but unlikable.
Right.
Both at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think now it's going to be I would think more about loyalty. However, no one will ever cross his daughter. No one will if Team Arrow come to me for help, he will always be there for him. One thing you have to be careful with Malcolm, if you're loyal to him, great. If he ever smiles at you, you're in trouble.
The deadly smile.
You're in trouble.
Some quick Q&As about you personally.
Okay.
Favorite color?
Blue.
It's my favorite color as well. There you go. Favorite food?
My favorite standby food is steak and chips.
Steak and chips.
Yep.
Can't go wrong. Favorite alcoholic drink?
Vodka soda with a lime, half ice, in a big tall glass.
Nice.
Yeah.
How tall's the glass?
A pint glass.
Okay.
And it's usually a double.
Favorite pastime?
Favorite pastime?
If you're on your own. What would you do?
Favorite pastime on my own is to oh gosh, that's really hard. I actually love, this is terrible, I love online shopping.
Okay.
I go on
impulse
buying? No, not impulse buying. I go on eBay and I research things. I actually have been known to buy a car when I'm sitting by myself in my living room. Yeah.
Okay.
I bought a Tesla once doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Just a small little line item there. Favorite cartoon as a child?
Favorite cartoon as a child would, that stumped me. I used to watch Scooby-Doo. Oh, right. Yeah, before Scrappy.
There you go. If you had your last $10, what would you spend it on?
If I had my last $10, what would I spend it on? The first thing that came to my mind is I'd probably give it away, because I always believe that if you give something, you'll get back tenfold. So I would give the money to somebody who needed it.
Great man.
That's not me saying it. That's literally the first thing that popped in my head.
Okay.
So I have to be true to that.
I have 2 more questions for you.
Yep.
John Barrowman, the man.
Yeah.
If you were to walk or cross paths with Malcolm Merlyn, in comparison to where Malcolm Merlyn is at now in his journey, what advice would you give Malcolm Merlyn?
Honestly, first thing that popped in my head, I wouldn't stop.
You would just keep walking.
I keep. If I knew who he was,
yep.
I keep walking.
You keep walking.
I
keep
keep walking.
For
no.
No.
But if it's a thing that if I knew that he was going to get involved in something, I would say keep going.
Just keep going.
One last one. We're done. This is
One
good.
more.
This is good. This is my DC family. I have to be kind to them.
That's right. As far as the fans are concerned, I'm a fan at heart, so I feel like I'm speaking for our fans at DC Comics News. You have a warmth about you. The way you communicate with fans, the things that you do on your Facebook page.
This is an easy question to answer.
People gravitate to that, and
Yep.
I think there's a lot of curious fans as to why do you do it. So just take us through the process. Why do you connect with fans the way you do?
It's not hard.
Okay.
Because and I say this because I'm a fan myself, and also as somebody who is living a life that I always dreamt about as a kid, I'm living that dream. And the only reason I'm living that dream is because of you guys, the fans. And that's why on social media and everything that I do, I try to include you in on it. And other celebrities think I'm stupid and they say that, it's a fake thing. It is totally not. I feel that I should include you because you put me in that position. So if I jokingly say I bought a Tesla, when I did it, I put it online. And I'm like, thank you, because you guys have helped me buy that. That is you're giving me the life that I've always lived. So that's why there's no bullshit about me, right? And if there is, then I want you to slap me on the day that it happens. But everybody who works with me, I am genuinely the same person as I'm talking to you, as I'm offline. I grump and I complain about stuff, but it's not in the sense that I don't think I'm bigger than my station. And that's why I love what I do. That's why I do cons. That's why I thrive on this kind of stuff, because I know you guys love it too, and I appreciate the position, as does my husband, that you've put us in, and we will always be grateful.
And that's why we love you. That's why we love Stephen, because he does the same stuff.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
And that's why we love the show. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's been a great interview.
I get to hug you.
Give me a hug. Yes. Good work.